Exactly 38 years ago, the notorious bandit who terrorized Benin City and old Bende State the 80s, Lawrence Nomayagbo Anini, aka Owigbo or the Law, and some members of his gang were executed by firing squad after being convicted by the defunct Bende Army Robbery and Fairarms Tribunal presided over by Justice James Omo Agege. Anini was born in a village about 20 miles from Benin City, in present-day Edo State. He migrated to Benin at an early age, learned to drive and became a skid Z driver. Anini became known in Benin motor parks as a man who could control the varied competing interests among motor park touts and operators. He later dived into the criminal business in the city and soon became a driver and transporter for gangs, criminal godfathers, and thieves. Later on, he decided to create his own gang, which included Monday Osumbo, Friday Ofege, Smalley, Henry, Ekponwa, Erika, and Halaji Z or Zege, who was never captured. They started out as car hijackers, bus robbers, and bank thieves. Gradually, he extended his criminal acts to other towns and cities far north and east of Benin. The complicity of the police is believed to have triggered Anini's reign of terror in 1986. In early 1986, two members of his gang were tried and prosecuted against an earlier under-the-table agreement with the police to destroy evidence against the gang members. The incident and Anini's views of police betrayal is believed to have spurred retaliatory actions by Anini. In August 1986, a fatal bank robbery linked to Anini was reported, in which a police officer, Nathaniel Egarera, and others were killed. That same month, two officers on duty were shot at a barricade while trying to stop Anini's car. During a span of 3 months, he was known to have killed 9 police officers. In an operation in August 1986, the Anini team struck at First Bank, Sabogida Owa, where they carted away 2,000 naira, but although the amount stolen was seen as chicken feed, many persons were killed. On September 6, same year, the Anini gang snatched a Peugeot 504 car from Abat Otwe, the driver of the famous Super Cup Assistant Inspector General of Police, Christopher Omeben. In snatching the car, they killed the driver and went to hide his corpse somewhere. It was not until 3 months later that the skeleton of the driver was spotted 16 kilometers away from Benin City. Along the Benin-Alba Way, a day after this attack, Anini, operating in a Passat car believed to have been stolen, also effected the snatching of another Peugeot 504 car near the former Fideco office in Benin. 2 days later, the Anini men killed 2 policemen in Orion local government of the state. Still in that month, 3 different robbery attacks, all pointing to Anini's involvement, took place. They include the murder of Frank Uno Arumi, a former employee of the Nigerian Observer newspapers, the killing of Mrs. Remi Sobanjo, a chartered accountant, and the stealing of the Mercedes-Benz car in Benin. Of the equally monarch, the Ovie, before September 1986 drew to a close, Anini struck at a gas station along Wire Road, Benin, where he stole a substantial part of the day's sales. He shot the station's attendant and gleefully started spraying his booty along the road for people to pick. The height of Anini's exploit, however, took place on October 1st, 1986, the Independence Day, when the State Commissioner of Police, Kasme Akadbosu, was ambushed by the gang in Benin, riddled his convoy in a hail of bullets. The police boss survived the attack with serious injuries. Earlier that day also, the Anini men had gunned down a policeman within the city. The Law, as he was nicknamed, during an operation that went bad reportedly, had to escape from the police by driving in reverse for a greater part of the distance from Agbo, Delta State, to Benin City, Edo State. Also, On October 21st of same year, the Anini robbery gang terminated the life of Benin-based medical doctor A.O. Emo Jeve when they gunned him down along Testami Road in Benin. Not done, Anini and gang went and robbed the Agbo branch of African Continental Bank and carted away about 46,000 naira. A day after the operation, Anini the law turned to a Father Christmas as he threw wads of naira notes on the ground for free pick by market men and women at a village near Benin. Anini's image thus loomed larger than life, dwarfing those of Ishola Oyunusi, the king of robbers in the 1970s, and Yopele Dakuro, the enemy deserted who masterminded the most vicious daylight robbery at Buolu's Enterprise in Lagos in 1978, in which two policemen were killed. Aninitas spearheaded a 4-month reign of terror between August and December 1986. Anini also repeatedly wrote numerous letters to media houses using political tones of Robin Hood-like words to describe his criminal acts. Worried by the seeming elusiveness of Anini and his gang members, the military president, General Ibrahim Babangida, then ordered a massive manhunt for the kingpin and his fellow robbers. The police thus went after them, combing every part of Bende State where they were reportedly operating and living. The whole nation was gripped with fear of the robbers and their daredevil exploits. However, police manhunt failed to stop their activities. The more they were hunted, the more intensified their activities became. Some of the locals in the area even began to tell stories of their invisibility, and for a while, it felt like they were never going to be caught. However, at the conclusion of a meeting of the Armed Forces Ruling Council, the nation's then highest ruling body in October 1986, General Babangida turned to the Inspector General of Police, Atim Iyang, and asked, "My friend, where is Anini?" Apparently embarrassed, IGP Iyang could to only tell his commander-in-chief that, "We are still looking for him, sir." IGP Iyang was soon tendered his notice of retirement from the force. At about this time, Nigerian newspapers and journals were also publishing various reports and editorials on the Anini's challenge, the Anini saga, the Anini factor, Lawrence Anini, the man, the might, Anini and Lawrence Anini, a Robin Hood in Bende. The Guardian newspapers asked emphatically in one of its reports, "Will they ever find Anini, the law?" An African proverb says, "Every day for the thief, one day for the owner." Anini's reign of terror was eventually brought to an end with his arrest by a police officer, Superintendent of Police Kayode Wewowo, on December 3rd, 1986 at number 26 Onyewosa Street, opposite Iguodala Primary School, Benin City, in company with 6 women. Acting on a tip-off from the locals, the policemen went straight to the house where Anini was hiding and apprehended him with very little resistance. Puaroro led a crack 10-man team to the house, knocked on the door of the room, and Anini himself, clad in underpants, opened. "Where is Anini?" the police officer quickly inquired. It was believed that his girlfriend had a hand in his arrest. Many are of the opinion that the girlfriend collaborated with the police and took Anini charms away before the police arrived. Dazed as he was caught off guard and having no escape route, Anini all the same tried to be smart. "Oh, Anini is under the bed in the inner room." As he said it, he made some moves to walk past Umara's room and his team. In the process, he shoved and head-butted the police officer, but it was an exercise in futility. Nwawerowo promptly reached for his gun, stepped hard on Anini's right toe, and shot at his left ankle. Anini surged forward, but the policeman took hold of him and put him in a sitting position. Then Tom bumped more bullet into his short leg and almost severed the ankle from his entire leg. Already anguished by the excruciating pains, the policeman asked him, "Are you Anini?" And he replied, "My brother, I won't deceive you. I won't tell you lie. I am Anini." He was from there taken to the police command headquarters where the state police commissioner, Pari Osayende, was waiting. While in the police net, Anini, who had poor command of English and could only communicate in pidgin, made a whole lot of revelations. He disclosed, for instance, that Osumbo, who had been arrested earlier, was his deputy, saying that Osumbo actually shot and wounded the former police boss of the state, Akadbosun. Anini was shot in the leg, transferred to a military hospital, and had one of his legs amputated. That was after Monday Osumba was also captured. When Anini's hideout was searched, police recovered assorted charms, including one he usually wore around his waist during operations. It was instructive that after Anini was captured and dispossessed of his charms, the man who terrorized the whole state and who was supposed to be fearless suddenly became a lily-livered and started singing like a sparrow, making confessions. This was against public expectations of a daredevil hoodlum who would remain defiant to every end. Shortly after the arrest of Anini and co., the daredevil robbers began to squeal, revealing the roles played by key police officers and men in the aiding and abetting of criminals in Bende State and the entire country. Due to the amputation of his leg, Anini was confined to a wheelchair throughout his trial. Anini particularly revealed that Chief Superintendent of Police Iyamo, who was the most senior police officer shielding the robbers, would reveal police secrets to them and then give them logistic support such as arms to carry out robbery operations. He further revealed that Iyamo, after each operation, would join them in sharing the loot. It was further exposed how Iyamo planned to kill Christopher Omeben, an Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of intelligence and investigation. But Iyamo was later to be disappointed as the assailant dispatched to eliminate Omeben were only able to kill his driver, Otwe. A Sergeant Iyamo, whom the robbers fondly referred to as Baba, reportedly had choice building in Benin City, being how he invested the loot he obtained from men of the underworld. Iyamo, on his part, denied ever knowing and collaborating with Anini, but Anini stood his ground. Of the 10 police officers Anini implicated, 5 were convicted. The robbery suspects, including Iyamo, were sentenced to death. But ju- in the passing of his judgment, Justice Omo Agege remarked, Anini will forever remembered in the history of crime in this country, but it would be of unblessed memory. Few people, if ever, would give the name to their children. The execution of Anini and the remaining members of his gang took place on the last Saturday of March 1987. Osumbo and CSP Iyamo had been executed few weeks earlier.